You are listening to the Banker's Secret Podcast, the Canadian guide to create a significant and positive impact on the financial success and everyday quality of life for businesses, individuals, and families. Building sustainable and dependable wealth, your host Glen has been serving Canadians since 2004.
Mcguire Financial in the spotlight this hour, home of becoming your own banker. That is what they are known for. I'm Peter Watts. Happy to be joined on the program this hour by Glen, the Chief Executive Officer and the founder of Mcguire Financial. He's at a conference in Denver this weekend, but has taken a few minutes to visit with us. The team at Mcguire Financial first discovered the process of becoming your banker in 2008. They have been transforming the financial lives of families and businesses across Canada since that time. Now then, let's talk about what this is all about. Glen, what's the process of becoming your own banker?
Peter, that's a great question. Ask yourself this: who is the banker in your life today? So being the banker in your life it's a process that mirrors the same three functions of a traditional bank. They take deposits, they lend money, and they earn interest. Peter, did you know banks are the biggest owners of participating dividend whole life insurance, and we're educating people on how to mimic exactly what they do? The essence of that is to recapture the interest most people would normally pay to a traditional bank. So we empower people on how to create and control their own personal private banking system. And, what if you had, to understand is about the banking process, it's not a product. You finance everything you buy, Peter, and you either pay interest or you give it up. So just imagine for a second if you had complete control over the use and liquidity of your own money. Being the banker in your life is a process that you can use, to create financial stability, sustainability, and more importantly, the freedom for you and your family, Peter.
Glen, how does Mcguire Financial educate the general public about becoming your own banker outside of this particular program?
Yeah, awesome. Peter, most of, what we've done here for the last, probably 5 or 6 years is we deliver a one-day educational bootcamp that you've mentioned already. That really teaches people a process on how they can be the banker in their life. And believe it or not, it's really not that hard once you know how. So primarily it's boot camps. You've already mentioned the book. So we had a burning desire to write this book, for Canadians, and how people can be empowered to take control of their own money and things like that. And also we have a variety of websites that have enough information on there that people can, learn about this concept. McGuireFinancial.ca is the primary site. Mcguire spelled M-C. Glen, when you work with business owners, can you pinpoint problems, identify price tags attached to those problems, and provide solutions to business owners? Absolutely, Peter. We believe market volatility shouldn't disrupt the quality of your life, and we work with a lot of business owners throughout Alberta, and what business owners have been telling us is they're looking for a strategy really that lets them put their current money flow to better use. And some of these things that as business owners that we need to be concerned of high price tags are things like liabilities and taxes. In the event that something that was happened to the business owner, which is really the key person in the business.
Well, and in this province right now, we've got changing rules related to income tax. We've got a new federal government that's going to change the rule book a little bit as well. So do you find you have to convince people that they can have confidence in becoming their own banker?
No, Peter, that's we don't have to convince anybody. It's once people have attended the boot camp, it's a very relaxed environment. With lots of time to ask questions and things like that. And, generally we found over the years that by the end of the day, most people are asking themselves, geez, how would this work for me?
Glen, anything to add?
Peter, I'm going to ask everybody, including yourself, this very important question. What if everything that you were taught to believe about money was wrong? If you think about that for a second, who's the banker in your life? And, we educate people on, again, really it's a process that reveals the truth, behind the most important business in the world. You know what that is? Banking. And through the Banker's Secret, it's a foundation of financial wisdom that really helps people understand the basics, really, of personal finance like never before.
Now then, let's welcome to the program Mary Jo Irmen, the author of the book Farming Without the Bank. Mary Jo grew up on a farm in North Dakota where her family still operates the family business. She believes very strongly that the banks have far too much hold on the farming industry, and she's on a personal mission to change all of that. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome to the program.
Good. Thanks.
What inspired you to write the book?
Well, I really just had to prove to our farmers that there was a way that they could do this, and it wasn't just for people that were non-farmers. And I would talk to them, and they wouldn't believe me, so I put it in paper, and I put numbers in the book so they can see it in operation and see it working with the operating loan.
What kind of reaction have you had?
It's been absolutely fantastic. It's really interesting. Farmers are frustrated, and so they're looking for ways to get out of that banking system and get away from the strongholds that the banks have on them. So they merely hear an ad or see a sign, and they're calling and wondering how they can get the book and when they can get started.
How did you hear about taking control of the banking function in your life, and how long ago did that happen?
I started teaching this process 5 years ago, and ironically, I heard about it 6 years ago, December of 2009, and I heard about it, and I said, well, I'm going to have to quit my job and tell the world about how you can do this, because nobody knows about it. So we implemented it into our family, and then I started teaching it right away as well. So it was something that just made sense to me. It's pretty common sense when you actually sit down and listen to Mcguire talk about it, and it just makes sense. You leave and you're like, where have these guys been for my whole life?
Can you share an example of the process that's helped someone in the farming business?
Yeah, absolutely. I have one client who is a young rancher, and before he met me, he was trying to build a herd of cattle, and he was holding over 1 to 2 heifer calves a year. And that's all the bank would allow him to hold over because he had to pay his operating note off. So after he met me, he is now currently holding over 15 to 20 heifer calves a year, and he'll have his herd built where he wants it in the next 5 years, and then he's going to be able to, move forward and do what he needs to do. But that would have never happened if he would have continued to use the banking system the way he was using it.
So it's learn a system, make it work for you, and grow your asset base.
It is, yep. It's learn a system, pay attention to your money, and work with the people that are teaching you this concept. If you're going to work with Mcguire, which I highly encourage you to do, then make sure that you're working with Mcguire. I always say that money is like a marriage. And if you're not paying attention to your marriage, you're going to come home someday and your spouse is gone. And money is the exact same way. If you don't pay attention to it, at some point, you're going to wake up and the bank's going to have everything that you own.
Good analogy. How is the process?
Or that they own, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How has the process of becoming your own banker transformed your life? How are things on the family farm? I presume it operates being your own banker and is doing okay.
Yeah, it is. And I don't personally farm. My family, my dad and my brother farm. So I can't exactly speak for them, but for myself, just being a non-farmer, working with farmers, my husband is very much a spender, and he believes that he's going to die before he retires. So he wants to do what he wants to do now. He wants to buy his things now. He wants to enjoy life now. And I am very much a saver. I want to make sure that we have some money for retirement because I'm pretty sure he's not going to die before he retires. So it's really worked out well for us because we can utilize the money in our system and we can buy all those things and do all those things we want now. We just pay it back and we can have it for retirement. So he gets what he wants, I get what I want, and it works out wonderfully.
You work with the farming community primarily, I guess. Give us a sense of the challenges that farmers face, a couple of the problems that they have with getting financing, and how this process might eliminate the stress and the pressure of trying to find the dollars needed to invest in the business.
One of the two main things that they have problems with is when they really need money, the bank won't give them money, and when they really need money, they have to have all this collateral. And a lot of these guys that are bigger farmers don't have the collateral they need for the operating expenses that they have. So if you're going to implement this system into the farm world, you're not going to have to go in and justify your balance sheet every single year so that you can get that operating note. It just alleviates that problem of so-called begging for money, because that's what a lot of farmers feel like they're doing. And having to prove themselves over and over. But when you need money, the money is going to be there for you because it's yours. You don't have to justify it by anybody.
Did you go through a Mcguire Financial bootcamp, or did you learn the process through some other means?
Well, I'm in the States, so I've not been up there yet. Hopefully I can get up there soon. I'd love to see one of their boot camps. But, no, I have learned it from our Nelson Nash, who is the same person that teaches it to Mcguire Financial. And a lot of the people up there, they have Nelson up a lot. So he is definitely somebody that you don't want to miss if he's ever up there in a boot camp. We make time for what's important to us. But I think, too, we spend a lot of time investing and looking up, okay, how can we save money? How can we save money on a computer system? How can we save money on a tractor? How can we save money on anything we do in life? But we don't spend enough time thinking, how can we make money? How can we better utilize our money? And that's exactly what Mcguire's boot camp is going to go over. I don't have anything at stake here. I don't get anything from Mcguire, but I have similar stuff here in the States, and it's just absolutely amazing. We're helping people create bigger ranches. We're helping people pay for equipment. We're getting those young farmers out of their 8-to-5 jobs and moving them over to the farm full time. We're figuring out how to get these young farmers to take over an operation without having to go to the bank to buy out those siblings and carry millions of dollars of debt when they're mid to late 40s. So there's a lot of things that we're doing. It's not just operating. It's not just buying cars or what have you. The system can be used for absolutely anything you do. I always say if you have money, you should be utilizing it.
Well, I think the other thing it does, I don't know if the situation in the U.S. is the same as it is in Canada, but the real challenge in saving the family farm is getting the next generation to take an interest in it. And if they have some confidence that the financial aspects of farming or ranching, for that matter, can be handled properly, that they can learn it through something like Mcguire Financial's boot camps, perhaps more of them will take up that opportunity and keep the family farm in the family and operating.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that down here too. So many young farmers don't want to farm. And you can't hardly blame them when they see what mom and dad have gone through and all the challenges they've had. And we've had a really good, 7 years of farming. Commodity prices haven't been so great the last couple of years, but boy, before that, those guys were making some money, and they're still scared. They still don't want to have all the strangleholds that the bank puts on them. So absolutely, if we can implement this, I just can't even imagine the amount of farms that we can save in the process, or keep them in the family, I should say, because it would be awesome to see that. Absolutely awesome. It all applies. It doesn't matter if you're a farmer or not. You're going to learn everything the same way I teach it.
So the key message of why farmers would be interested in this?
They're financing at much higher rates than what a typical person is financing. They've got possibly $1 million operating note every single year, and the amount of interest lost to the bank is just horrendous. So just gaining back some of that interest that alone is worth just going to the boot camp for. So,
what a participant is going to receive starting in the morning would be some money essentials, savings versus investing. Who's in control of your money? We'll lead people through the real truth in lending. We're going to talk about interest volume, velocity on your money. Most people don't understand that. It's really significant. The fundamentals of banking and lending with security versus, investing with risk. We talk about banking as a process. Let's just agree, everybody banks. You finance everything you buy, either pay interest or you give it up. And, we talk a lot about the banking problem and the solution. And in the afternoon is, really just amazing. We have several case studies. People discover how, a personal banking system, that they can use to pay for vehicles, send their kids to college, business owners to buy equipment, and so much more. So, it's really, an awesome day about creating, and taking control of your own money, Peter.